The most lucrative business ideas aren't always born in some flashy tech startup. Sometimes they're hiding in plain sight, buried under piles of the most confusing government paperwork you can possibly imagine. Today, we're going to dig up one of those hidden gems.
Right off the bat, we're looking at a really interesting contradiction. On the one hand, most people believe that authenticating documents for international use, a process called an apostille, is strictly a government job. But the reality? Well, it's actually a massive business opportunity for folks who can act as expert guides through that process.
So what's the biggest thing that gets people confused? What's the main misconception holding them back? Well, it usually sounds a little something like this. And what's so fascinating is that this statement is 100% true. The Secretary of State is the one who issues the apostille. But focusing on that single fact is exactly why most people completely miss the real business opportunity sitting right in front of them. Okay, so to really see that opportunity, we've got to get on the same page. Let's do a quick breakdown of what an apostille actually is and why it's so incredibly important. To put it simply, an apostille is kind of like an international seal of approval. It's the official process that tells one country, hey, this document from that other country, it's the real deal. Seriously, without it, international business, education, and just personal stuff would pretty much grind to a halt. And listen, this isn't some rare niche requirement. The demand for this is constant, and it comes from all over. We're talking about everything from personal documents, like your birth certificate or a university diploma, to really high-stakes business papers, things like trademarks, patents, and major corporate agreements. So, if the government is the one stamping the document, where's the business? It's right there, in the role of the facilitator, or as the source material puts it, the middleman. This right here is the absolute key. You are not trying to do the government's job. Your job is to be the expert guide, the person who helps a client navigate the government's, let's be honest, bureaucratic maze. And in practice, it's a really simple, elegant model. First, you collect the necessary paperwork from your client. Then you're the one who does the legwork, taking it to the correct state or federal office to get it all processed. And finally, you return the fully authenticated documents. You're not selling a stamp, you're selling expertise, convenience, and, most importantly, peace of mind. But you might be thinking, is this just a small side job, something to do on the weekends? Not at all. This has the real potential to scale from a simple side hustle into a full-fledged, thriving business. I really like this quote because it completely reframes the goal. It's not about just getting 1 or 2 jobs here and there. Nope. The real aim is to build a system, a machine that attracts a constant flow of clients who desperately need this exact problem solved for them. And you can see that growth potential pretty clearly. You might start out with just a few one-off jobs, sure, but with the right kind of marketing and systems in place, you can build that into a consistent income stream and then ultimately into a thriving business that's your main focus. Now, just because the concept is simple doesn't mean it's easy. To become a real pro at this requires real knowledge. The source even mentions a 50-page starter guide on the topic, which just goes to show you. There are specific details, flowcharts, and tools you have to master to do this right and build that critical trust with your customers. Okay, let's zoom out for a second. Why is this middleman role so valuable? What's the core principle at play here that you could probably apply to almost any industry? I mean, just look at the difference. For a regular person, trying to navigate this process alone is just confusing, it's incredibly time-consuming, and honestly, it's super stressful. But when you bring in a facilitator, suddenly the process becomes simple and streamlined. The client's time is saved, and the outcome goes from uncertain to professional and reliable. You're literally transforming a terrible experience into a positive one. And that brings us right to the heart of it. Here's the key takeaway. Wherever you find a complex, confusing, or frustrating process, there is a business opportunity just waiting for an expert to step in and make it simple. That's the real secret here. So I'll leave you with this question to chew on. The apostille business is just one example, right? So if you look around at other processes, things like taxes, permits, licenses, where else is there a valuable business just waiting to be built by someone who's willing to master the complexity?